folks, good morning and welcome to Nigel's allotment, plot 5. Now you may have got a bit confused with our naming of Nigel's plots, but let me just tell you a little story behind it. Plots 1 and 2 he owns, well he owns one and he rents another. Now those plots, so they are officially his, they're on another site. Then he's got the new plots, what he's got here, which is 3 and 4, which are officially rented to Nigel. But this plot 5, which was actually his first plot, isn't officially Nigel's, hence the naming, because at some point this will probably cease to be Nigel's. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Right then, so I've got Nigel with me, he's here, and we're going to go give a little tour of this plot 5.
Yeah, you can see I've just had a delivery of manure from a local farm here. It's vital to keep the amount of organic material as high as you can in a decently run plot.
And this is cow manure,
cow
isn't
manure,
it?
yeah. Your horse manure apparently isn't so good because the horse's digestion is not the same as a cow's, and what happens is more seeds get passed through.
Okay.
So horse manure tends to give you more weeds, I'm told.
Right.
This seems to be pretty good. You've got to remember to keep the soil humus as high as you can because things grow much better. You know, soil is really a living organism. It's
Okay.
full of little creepy crawlies and other things and worms and other stuff that when it's aerated properly with lots of humus, it allows roots to grow optimally.
Okay.
You can see the wood chip I've been putting down for the footpaths is working fairly well. I put it down to suppress weeds. Obviously we get quite a few. Bindweed here is very bad. I'll have to keep digging that out. But I'll try to use a very short pointed trowel which will get the weeds out without spoiling the footpath too much. I don't want to dig the footpaths out each time I do the weeding.
Okay. On the subject of bindweed, folks, Nigel and I, as you know, are involved in lots of projects, and part of our projects is involved with organic concerns, and we're just wondering, folks, because we're not, although we try and keep the spraying to a minimum, we do spray on our plots. You know, I use weed killer. I know a lot of people hate that, but basically my question is, folks, can you give us options, organic options, which is going to work? Probably not as well, but which is going to help instead of using that, other than dig the weeds out, because there's certain situations where that's not feasible. It's just not possible, is it, Nigel?
Well, that's true. That's true. There's a new pest that's coming in from America at the moment, a sort of fruit fly.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, which attacks not decaying fruit, but healthy, unblemished fruit whilst it's on the tree. And what this fly does, it lays its eggs into the healthy apple, and then what do? Because if half the fruit gets these insect eggs in it, you can't spray the fruit because it's nearly ripe, or it is ripe.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a real headache if it gets a hold in Britain.
It is, yeah.
I wonder if the organic people have got any answer to that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I hope
we'd
something
love to hear any information what you folks can share with us.
Yeah, I heard there was a project to introduce male fruit flies that were somehow genetically changed, which were sterile, so that the eggs wouldn't develop.
Right.
But I don't know what progress has been made with that scheme. But they were doing that, I think, at Leicester University 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Interesting. Right then, Nigel, what's happening here? There's a space free. You took up a row of apples, or you had something else there?
Well, I actually planted some potatoes there before I was aware of the problems of mixing apples and potatoes. There's a problem which some of you will have heard me talk about on other videos. Potatoes have a pest known as potato cyst eelworm, and those little creatures like eating the roots of apple trees.
Okay.
They don't move very far. I've been doing some research on Google and elsewhere, and apparently the potato cyst eelworm only moves perhaps a yard or so each year.
Right.
But that's more than enough.
Yeah, to devastate
a plot once it gets a hold. So I won't be growing many more potatoes on this plot, I don't think. Though it's likely I will only have this bit of land for another year or two anyway.
Okay.
You can see where the potatoes were. The footpaths haven't been weeded quite so regularly because I couldn't get in. So this has got to be tidied up a bit.
Okay.
You can see lots of the apples now that remain are colouring up.
Yeah.
It's now the third week in October. What is it? The 25th.
Yeah, 25th.
And it's about now when you can say confidently that apples that are still on the tree can be stored.
Okay.
So apples that are still on the tree at this time of year, third week in October, you can take them off and store them, and most of them will keep for a fair fraction of the winter, certainly up till Christmas, and some of them will keep for longer.
Right.
Anything that you store from earlier probably won't keep.
Okay.
So I won't say you're wasting your time, but you mustn't be disappointed when after a couple of weeks they're no longer edible.
Right.
I've got some interesting apples here. This one is growing much better than last year. This is Spencer seedless. This is one which is known as a parthenocarpic apple. Doesn't need pollinating. It has no seeds in it unless you hand pollinate it with a particular pollen, but the apples will form anyway, even with no pollination.
So there's no seeds in it? So you're relying on grafting?
No, these are genetic freaks. These were discovered about 100 years ago, the seedless apple, or some of the seedless apples. There are a number of them. There's Wellington bloomless.
So how do you create a new tree if it's got no seeds?
What you do is you breed varieties which have fewer and fewer seeds.
Okay.
And eventually you end up with one where one of the seedlings that you produce has apples in it with virtually no seeds at all.
Right.
That's how you breed a seedless variety.
And then you take cuttings from that tree.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Got
This
it.
will form seeds. If you pollinate it, you get seeds.
Right.
But it will still form fruit without being pollinated.
Right.
And when you get an unpollinated fruit, it doesn't have any pits.
It's got
in it.
a strange patterning to it, hasn't it? It's not not like any other apple, really. Well, not really.
It's slightly russeted. You can see there's russeting here.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of varieties this year, because of the weather conditions, are showing more russet than normal. I've got a number of varieties like Ribston, which usually have got nice red stripes, and this year they're entirely, well, they look just like russets.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and surprisingly, you often find when they are russeted, they taste better.
Okay.
Yeah, now what else have we got here? We've got a Leicestershire heritage variety here. This is Annie Elizabeth. This is a cooker.
We have to say it looks
Look
stunning,
at that.
doesn't it?
Amazing.
Just look at that, folks. Look at that. Look at Nigel's hand. Look at the size of that. It's enormous.
Yeah, this tree was grafted from the original Annie Elizabeth tree in Leicester a few years ago, and it's just starting to fruit now. And these fruit will keep, well, some years they'll keep right through until June.
Okay.
Graham Deacon of Deacon's Nursery, Isle of Wight, he reckons that this is the best keeper there is.
Right.
And once you get past Christmas, you can use it as an eater. It's a really good flavour. Oh, this is an apple that originates in Croft, Leicestershire. This was found near the old quarry gate. It's obviously from a pip. It has a very curious flavour. It's
when you say
sweet.
it's obviously from a pip, can you explain?
Yeah, it was found on waste ground, and the quarry owner was consulted, and or the person running the quarry was consulted, and he said that he hadn't planted it.
Okay.
And it wasn't that old a tree.
Right.
This was 20 years ago, and the tree is only 30 or 40 years old.
Right.
So it was from a pit that someone had just thrown an apple core onto the waste ground, and it had grown.
Yeah.
It's a nice flavour, and some years it has a most peculiar taste because it tastes a little bit of celery. Have you ever tasted this when it tastes like that?
No.
But about 1 year in 3, you can distinctly taste celery when you are eating it.
Well, not being a vegetarian or one who eats veg doesn't mean a lot to me.
No, there's a special compound in celery. I think it's called known as an aldehyde, and that gives a hint of this grass-like flavour. Are there any more down here to show? Oh, look at here. This is an old Norfolk variety. Look at that. This is another cooker. It's an incredibly reliable cooking apple tree. Never misses a year. And this is known as Meton Roy. It was given to me by Brian Durrant when I was doing a grafting course down there some years ago. So we're going to spread that around. Right, these are seedlings. One or two of them.
Would they be 3 years old?
Yeah. Three. I think the one in the middle is probably 4 years old.
I'm getting an idea now by looking at them, aren't I?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. This tree here we found in Mere village at the side of the road near Wincanton in Wiltshire, and you can see it's a beautifully coloured apple, and it has very, very white flesh. Have we tried? I think we tasted this last year. I really rate this for flavour.
Right, okay.
It's a very late apple, and we found it originally, a tree was laden next to the side of the road in mid-February.
Right.
So it's really late. It's an incredibly late apple. They don't usually stay on the tree here quite as late as that.
No.
We can usually keep them most of the winter. Oh, there's a little crab apple down here. These are...
From a distance, they almost look like plums, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Look at that. Yeah, we tasted these. These are Malus soulardii. They have crimson blossom and red flesh, and we found that they were quite a decent flavour. Oh, and we've got one of my first seedlings over there. Let's go around and have a look at that. Oh, these are colouring it quite well. I thought they were going to be bi-coloured. Well, they're not properly red, but they're nearly red all over. These are a cross between Wittick Pippin and George's Red. Okay. And at the moment it's just called 0710.
Right.
Seedling number 7 from 2010. And we've tried this in our tasting. I think it scored 7. I think it was 7 or 8.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice one. Yeah, but I don't think we'll be releasing it probably.
So, what's happening here, Nigel? We've got some...
Oh, that's the same tree.
No, what's causing these?
Oh, that?
It's on these as well. We've got an insect in there.
Have we?
Yeah, in there. Just seen it move, look.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a fruit fly. That hasn't created that great big hole. I reckon it's... Could it be birds pecking?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
I think birds have started pecking, and then other things have got in. Wasps and things.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one other thing it could be. Small snails. There's lots of climbing snails around here.
Yeah.
Those tiny
Remember
ones.
That? Yeah, I know. The one what you nearly gave me to eat.
The little fella, Goliath or whatever you called him. Oh, this is Wixon. This is the one that made your...
Look, teeth could pop out.
That's the one, yeah.
I didn't like the taste of that, and yet Nigel liked it.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. And this is blackjack. We found this in Norfolk. This is was believed extinct, but that's a nice sharp apple that used to be in the National Fruit Collection. And this is a Durrant's apple, which we will be trying soon. It's a very late apple from Norfolk.
Yeah.
I think that's about got to the end of the ones that are still on.
Can I just say something, Post? There's been a lot of comments just lately, and we just want to say thank you to all of you who have made the comments. I haven't personally replied to the ones what people have left for me, and I know Nigel's been quiet because he's been on holiday, folks, and we didn't want to broadcast it. He's a bit poorly as well at the moment with a cold.
I'm recovering from a cold. I'm feeling a bit groggy.
But anyway, all your messages, likes, everything, it's much appreciated. It's what keeps us going, makes us enjoy what we do. And if we don't comment or reply or whatever, it's nothing personal. We've read your messages. I try and like the replies just to show you that I'm seeing them, but it's not always the case because obviously I'm quite busy with different things and a lot of caring.
Yeah, I noticed someone put a comment on a video that we put up about a year ago this morning.
Yeah?
Which I have replied to. Yeah, someone was asking me about Ukrainian apples.
Ah, yeah, I spotted that last night, I think.
I don't get notified
Or it
of
might
these
have been this
things.
morning. Yeah, I know. That's the problem with how we've set it up. Yeah.
But anyway, we're trying to keep in touch with what's going on, don't we? So we reply to what we see as much as we can. Do you want to have a look at the veg up there? You can have a good laugh at my veg growing techniques.
Yeah. Nigel's an expert on apples and he knows a lot of facts and that about things, but growing veg isn't his strong point.
No,
now, bear in mind that this piece of land here is from the same piece down there, owned by an elderly lady who's been very ill, and so Nigel's just done. It was like a jungle. It was several feet high, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you cleared it all, and then you just attempted to because you didn't really know what was happening with it, did you? Whether the lady was going to do it herself or.
That's right. I marked it out with planks. I found this was a really easy way of dividing it up into small beds, and then the person concerned can say, okay, I'd like 2 beds of leeks and 1 of potatoes or whatever, and it's dead easy to put them in. Yeah. And obviously I can walk on the planks without walking on the soil. Yeah. So I don't have to re-dig it every year. I just use a hoe or something like that. Yeah. But I'm surprised that those brassicas seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, considering there's no netting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put netting on for the first month and then I took it off.
Right.
Because it was encouraging, I thought it was encouraging those little white flies.
Yeah.
But they seem to have more or less gone there.
No, yeah, it's the time of year.
And there's some leeks there that are doing okay.
Yeah.
There were some nearby leeks that had got a nasty insect on the growing point which was making them rot, so I did actually get these sprayed.
Right.
But it seems to have worked and now they're looking pretty healthy.
And what's this? Are you preparing for next year with this?
Well, I haven't got that's left over. I was going to put in some runner beans, and then a lot of the runner beans that Alison did failed. Yeah. And so there weren't enough to use this structure, so I'll probably leave it in.
I think a lot of people had problems with French and runner beans this year. It must have been something to do with the weather.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. In fact, the ones I grew later on, and they were put in like willy-nilly. They actually did well for the French beans. We had quite a lot of meals from them. Yeah. Well, I didn't, but parents did.
Oh yeah. One day, perhaps you'll grow to like veg. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe when can't afford to eat meat.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's about it for this morning.
Okay then, Nigel. Thanks for that tour.
Okay, good.
And we'll be back at some point. We have got a meeting on Thursday to do the Carers Garden.
Yeah.
And I'm off on training with the Master Gardeners on Friday and Saturday. And I've been told I can film it all. So how that's going to work out, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay then, bye.
Yeah, bye.